really simple hello world component. We then used it as a component so that we can render maybe once or twice a couple of things. We saw that the implementation is to have a render to extend the React component, right, and to return whatever content we want to render. And the way you use it is by importing the component and then just reusing it as if it were an HTML element, right? All right, so now we have a working React component. We can now see how we can deploy it in Heroku. So let's do that. Notice that it's still running. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to say Control C. Let's see, where are we? Okay, we're there. We're going to do a Git Status. Okay, notice that we have a brand new hello.js. We modified the index.js. Yeah, I think we can add everything we need. Probably not the .idea. The .idea is specific to the IDE, right? So we should ignore that directory to do that. Notice that there's a git ignore in there. See that? Right. So we can edit it. So let's go to our IDE and see that we should have a git ignore somewhere. There it is. A git ignore. This was created by the tool that we use, Create React App, and it is ignoring quite a few things. It's ignoring the build directory. So when you compile, right, when everything gets transpiled, everything gets transpiled into this build directory, right? And we should never check in anything in the Git repository that can be recalculated or rebuilt from scratch from our source. Okay, so certainly we don't want a build directory in there. Another thing that is being added here in the ignore is the node_modules, right? Node_modules is a directory that will become fairly intimate a little later, but it's where all the libraries that Node.js needs, right? They're all downloaded, installed inside of node_modules. It's the equivalent in Java of jar files, right? So and in Java you could have lots of jar files, right? For the server, for testing, unit testing, right? All this jar files. So typically your jar files and library files never go into repository, right? You only put in repository source. So it's very good that we have that directory in there, the node_modules directory. Yes. But another directory here that was created by the IDE is this .idea directory. See that? That should not go into source control either. Okay, because maybe you have some other IDE, right? So I shouldn't litter the source control with this. So I'm going to add the .idea directory in there, right? And so if I go back and do a git status, notice that the git ignore has changed, and the .idea directory is no longer being tracked by Git. Yes, right, which is a good thing. So make sure that you always have a git ignore. You make sure that you always have git ignore, and that you always have this, at least this directory, the node_modules directory, right? You never want all these libraries to make it into source control. It's a huge list of libraries that make no sense to keep in source control. All right, so once we have that, we can just add everything. Git add everything. Git status we've added, so we can commit and say first commit. And we're ready to push it to a local, to our remote directory in Git, or we can now send it to Heroku. And to send it to Heroku, we do a Heroku create. So Heroku create. It parses that's a Node.js application. It gives us a random name, afternoon caverns. Okay, and then we can just push it to Heroku. We say git push to Heroku, the master branch. It's going to push. Heroku is going to read this and says, I just detected that it's a Node.js application. So it's going to instantiate a Node.js server for us in their remote cloud, right? It parses our package JSON file, which I haven't shown you. Let's look at the package JSON file real quick. Here's package JSON. Right, package JSON is the equivalent in Java, right, of Maven files of the of the POM file, right? In Java, remember this pom.xml. So pom.xml in Java projects determines what libraries this particular project depends on. It says, well, I depend on a JDBC SQL connector. I depend on this network file. I depend on JUnit. I depend on all these other libraries to be present. Yes, and then you do Maven clean install, and all those libraries are downloaded. Yes, right. So same thing here with instead of POM file, we have the equivalent is package JSON. And in particular, notice that it lists here the dependencies. See that? Dependencies, this project depends on at least these 3 libraries being installed locally on your system. It needs React, the versions of React DOM, and React scripts. It also declares a couple of scripts that allow you to start your project, to build your project, to test it. Okay, so anytime we load any new libraries, any new dependencies, we're gonna add Bootstrap. Certainly, we're gonna add Font Awesome. Next week, we're gonna add Redux. Okay, all those new dependencies are gonna be listed in this dependencies map here. Yes, very good. Right. If they're not listed here, things might work locally on your machine, but when you push it to Heroku, it might not work over there. So be careful. Right? I know I'm going to get a lot of questions on Piazza. Why is it working on my machine, but it's not working when I push it to Heroku? And I'm always going to answer, well, check your package JSON file. Make sure the libraries you install locally are also installed in this, are listed here in your package JSON file. All right, let's see if this works. All right, so let's see. Looks like it worked. Verifying the deploy, done. It's deployed, so we can now navigate to our. Notice that it copied all our files into Afternoon Caverns, Git directory, and it's being hosted at this URL, Afternoon Caverns HerokuApp.com. And we can navigate there by saying Heroku open. Heroku open will navigate to the directory. There it is. Or this is our hello world again. Goodbye, hello world again. Right. So this is running in the remote server. So now we have two environments. Right. We have our local development environment, and this presumably would be a production environment. Yes. So the way we would work is that we would first work in our assignments, in our projects locally on our machine. Once we feel confident, we push to the we do a git commit, right? And then we push to Heroku as our final deployable version. Make sense? Already good? All right. Awesome. All right, so it's running remotely. Let's see what else. I think that's it. Hi everyone, Jose here. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to leave a comment down below. Bye.